Hi, we are going to talk about the 4 basic operations today, but we're going to start with addition and subtraction. This should be a quick lesson. I know that we all already know how to add and subtract, but I want to review the rules for adding and subtracting with negatives because that's an area where my students often get hung up throughout the year, so this should be just a quick review to get us going. So when we have a basic addition or subtraction problem, it's usually set up something like this, and I think a lot of us have just basically memorized the rules here, but I want to remind you that this all always comes back to the number line, so I've put a number line here for us to use. The first number in an equation like this one tells us where to begin on the number line. So the 1 is telling us that we're going to start at 1 on the number line. Then we have the operator, either the plus sign or the minus sign. That is telling us which direction to move. If it's a plus sign, we'll move to the right on the number line. If it's a minus sign, we'll move to the left. So in this case, we're going to move to the right, and the next number tells us how far to move. So we're going to move to the right 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3 spaces, and we land on the 4. So that's why the answer to this problem is 4. Hopefully, this basic setup can help you do more complex problems and problems with negatives. So here we have negative 3 plus 5. Most of my students know right away this is either going to be a 2, a negative 2, an 8, or a negative 8, but they get mixed up on which one it should be. So the number line can help us here. We start on negative 3, and we move 5 spaces to the right. So we're eliminating negative 8 as a possibility. It can't be negative 8 because we would have to move left to get to negative 8. So now we're going to move 5 spaces. We've already passed negative 2. And after we move 5 spaces, it should be clear that we're going to land on the 2. We're not going to get as far as the positive 8. So our answer to this problem will be 2. Try one on your own. Since this has a minus sign, we're going to start on the 2 and move to the left this time. We're going to move to the left 3 spaces. So people get mixed up on whether this answer would be 1 or negative 1. But if you think about moving on the number line, it has to be negative 1. And here's one more for you. Start on the negative 2, move 2 spaces to the left. So we land on negative 4. Good job. Now here's a problem that seems to have a plus and a minus, and students ask me all the time, what is the difference between a minus sign and a negative sign? And that's kind of a tricky question to answer. Every time you have a problem, there's always an operator. So if there's only one sign, then it's a minus. But if you already have an operator, like this problem has an operator right in the middle, and then the minus sign, that sign is really going with the number here, so that's a negative sign. So here we would read this as 4 plus negative 3. When you have an operator and a negative sign, the rule is change the operation. So change it in this case from a plus to a minus, and take away the negative sign. So instead of 4 plus negative 3, the plus changes to a minus, and the negative goes away. 4 minus 3, we know that's a 1. If we had this would be read as 4 minus negative 3. The first sign is the operator, that's the minus, and the next is the sign of this number, so that's the negative. We would change the minus sign to a plus sign and take away the negative. So imagine what it's going to look like. 4 plus 3, and we know that's 7. Here's one for you to try. The sign with the 1, that's a negative sign. So we'd say negative 1. That's not affected by this operator, since it comes before the 1. Here we have a minus sign and a negative sign. So those combine, this gets changed to a plus, and the the negative sign goes away. So we end up with negative 1 plus 2. And if we imagine the number line, that's starting on the negative 1, moving 2 spaces to the right, that gives us positive 1. We'll practice this some more tomorrow. Good job.